Hey everyone! Thank you for waiting for GameHounds. Sorry. This was
Technical
on.
difficulties.
Yeah, I plugged my headset in and it decided that it didn't need to work, so I had to like futz around with preferences for a bit. I'm not really quite sure what's going on with my Corsair headset. I don't know if you can see it, but I'm wired at this point, and I have been for the last few weeks. And today, stupidly, I tried to say, "Huh, I wonder why it's not wired. Why, it's got a dongle that's supposed to work, and it recognizes the dongle, and the headset recognizes the dongle, but for some reason, and I can hear you through my headset with this just fine.
Okay, so it's
But
not it's not that it ran out of batteries.
no, 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 no. It's not that it ran out of batteries at all. I can hear you,
Mm.
but the mic doesn't work. It's not transferring any audio. Now, there was a point in time when I was playing around with some apps called Voice Meter and another one called Voice Mod that I was kind of playing around with, and it was right about that time it kind of stopped working. So I've deleted both of those, but I have a feeling that one or both of them might have gotten in the way,
It's so
so to
weird that it
speak.
would
The man
block.
in the middle kind of let me down.
Yeah, that's weird that it would block the input from like a specific headset.
Yeah, now the first time I tried, it was not even responding to this, so I kinda had to restart everything, delete the headset, remove the dongle, put the headset back in wired, and then it started to work, but it took a bit. It got temperamental. So one of these days, in my vast amounts of spare time, I'm gonna sit down and figure that out.
Hey, if you have time to play Baldur's Gate, you have time to troubleshoot headsets.
No. No, no, no. 2 entirely different things. Let me hold a second. Uh, sorry. So how was your week?
My week has been very good. Yeah, I will have to cut out early, after probably about 2 hours because Rachel got tickets to a Warriors game through work, and after doing the polite thing for someone that's new at a job and offering it to like her coworkers, hey, because it is kind of a work function, right? She got a box, but it's going to be filled with other people that are like using her software. So she offered it to a bunch of coworkers. None of them could come. So
Mhm.
now it falls to me. And I will have to take that bullet of going to a Warriors game in a box. It's a shame, really. I
Oh,
I
it's a box
suffer.
seat too?
Mhm.
Nice.
Yeah,
Have you been to the
these
Chase Center before?
I don't think so.
It's really loud and it's really, really
Mm.
swanky.
Okay.
Yeah, it's I've been in a box. Was it a Where's Game in a Box at the Coliseum, and this is nothing like that. Wow,
Okay.
you've had 2 you, Mr. I don't like sports, have been at a, like a
Oh yeah,
luxury
2.
seats in 2 different kinds of sports, of Bay Area sports in
That's
1
right.
year.
You got us tickets to the baseball game. The A No, that was Giants.
Sorry.
You're like, fuck the A's.
Yeah, fuck the A's. Fuck the A's. I'm sorry if you are an A's fan, but fuck the A's.
Now
Sell
that
them. Just get rid of them. Those sons of bitches. They cost us. They freaking cost us the Raiders. They cost us the
that's right.
Raiders.
Yeah,
They
Vegas
made
took
the
the
Raiders
Raiders.
move, and now they're moving.
Mhm.
There's not enough middle fingers in the Bay Area for what that operation deserves. Seriously, if there is God, that God needs to be more vengeful against everything that the A stands for. And I say that my parents knew Billy Martin, who was a manager, eventually became a manager of the A's. We were diehard A's fans when I was a kid. Never again. I did the same thing to the Raiders. I cut the Raiders out of my life when they moved. I'm cutting the A's out of my life. Sorry. I'm a wee bit passionate about losing the A's hurt.
Clearly.
Losing the
Well,
A's was was real painful because I know that it was
because there's a long history in your family of being fans.
it's not just the long history of my family. It's the fact that it was the A's being unwilling to work with the Coliseum that made the Raiders have to leave to go to Vegas. And then the A's turn around and leave at the end of their contract.
Mhm. Well,
And go to
yeah.
Vegas. And trust me,
Eh.
the owner of the Raiders is none too happy about it. They are not going to get a very good reception when they go to Vegas. Oh, he's
Oh,
absolutely
really?
livid because he didn't want to leave the Bay Area. But
Then
the
why?
A's just were dicks to the Coliseum. They stood in the way between the Coliseum and the Raiders being able to make a deal that would allow the Raiders to stay.
Hmm.
The gray block fits in boxes well?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
that's what he was referring to. I got a bunch of box seats this year because I just fit very nicely into them.
You do. You look good in them.
Yeah, I think they look good on me. So yeah, look, if any of those listeners out there have any other box seats to various sporting events, I will happily take them off your hand.
You know what?
It doesn't matter what the sport is.
Yeah, the ironic thing is that you have sat in those baseball seats. I have not.
Which you should.
I have yet to
They were
sit
nice.
in the box seats that I gave you.
They're very nice. You should do that. Take
I
advantage of it.
know, but I have my own tickets. I have my own seats that I really don't sit in either, so anyway, how are you? How's things?
Good. Things are very good.
I'm really looking forward to being at work next week
Why?
because APEC.
What's APEC?
Do you really live here, Nick? Are you just a virtual thing?
APEC, the Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation?
The APEC CEO. Look up APEC CEO 2024. All of
APEC
you can look it up. APEC
CEO.
CEO 2024.
The APEC CEO Summit? Oh, is
Mhm.
that something that's happening in the city?
Do you see what's happening in the city?
No.
Look up
Okay, can I go to
look up
news?
APEC Summit 2024 attendees.
SF is frantically preparing to host a huge international event.
Can you see who's attending?
No, I don't want to subscribe. Fuck you, San Francisco Chronicle. Former Google executive enters. No, that's a Senate race.
No.
Large number of convenances in San Francisco. Low for 2024. Salesforce CEO? No, threatens to
No.
pull. I can't find this information. If I
APEC
can't find it when looking
CEO
for it,
Summit
would never stumble across it.
attendees. I will look it up for you.
CEO 2024.
All right. Let's see.
Mark Benoff?
Mark Benioff.
Who is that guy?
Sh
Who is he? That name sounds familiar.
Mark Benioff?
That's not
He's head of Salesforce.
okay. I was like, that's not the Benioff and Weiss from Game of Thrones, is it?
No.
Okay, so who is this mystery person?
Who is attending APEC CEO Summit?
Or mystery people? Is it a
Uh-huh.
group?
Uh-huh. Let's see. Where are they?
Is it? Oh, who's that? Who's the super big K-pop group?
I can't believe I'm having a hard time finding this.
Right, see?
APEC. I know it shouldn't be hard. APEC. I have a subscription to the Chronicle.
Joe Biden?
Joe Biden, Xi Jinping, Justin Trudeau, Macron, Widodo,
Okay.
pretty much every world leader throughout Asia, plus a bunch of like tech people. It's like it's everybody. If a
Hey, see,
bomb,
it says I'm on the Frilly website.
and I can't find it. I know. Uh, let's see. Apex Summit.
Well, clearly there won't be anything bad that happens there because no one will know it's happening.
Oh no, everybody knows it's happening.
I don't know. This information seems pretty hard to find.
I've seen a list.
So okay, yeah. So wait, that means you want to go into the office?
I am not looking forward to it. I mean, I am and I ain't, because right now
Because I
I
imagine the
am
commute would be
I
terrible.
there we go. Tens of thousands of attendees. Xi Jinping is going to be there. Joe Biden's going to be there. Still can't find it. Let's see. I know I have ad block. I can't believe I'm having such a hard time with this. Xi Jinping, Prime Minister Andrei Belousov. Actually, I doubt it. No. This can't be right. He's not coming. No way. Oh, that's last
Who?
year's. That's last year's in
Oh.
Shanghai, I believe. So anyway, I am right on the edge of the exclusion zone. Pretty much there's crazy amounts of exclusion zone. There's a whole section of the waterfront that you're not even supposed to be near. I have to get off the ferry. First off, the ferry goes right by where is the exclusion zone, which means that the ferry's probably going to have to even take a bigger detour around it
Oh.
just to dock. And then when it docks, I take my scooter literally to the very line of the exclusion zone, and then I cross the street.
Can you
So
work remotely?
I'm gonna try not to. They really don't want me to work remotely, and I kind of sort of want to be there for it.
Okay.
I mean, I kind
Okay.
of want to see, what happens. So it's a thing that there's like the news hound, the reporter part of me kind of wants to be there for it.
Mm,
Because one, just to see what it's like and have that like global experience of being able to, say, hey, here's what it's like when every world leader converges on your city and you're right there in the middle of it. And number two is, if something does go down, I kind of want to be there for that too.
GameHounds is gonna start reporting on international politics.
It could be. It could
Mhm.
be. It's kind of the same reason why I was there, sort of. If I was, you probably were too young for it. The Loma Prieta earthquake.
Mm.
The fact that I
I
was in the
vaguely remember
marina
it.
in the Loma Prieta earthquake is kind of like one of those stories that I can say,
Hmm.
like those interesting bits of information about yourself. So I am not by no means hoping that anything does go down, but if it does go down, I kind of want to be there for it.
Okay.
Um so yeah, it's gonna be a real massive mess up. If I mean, you don't it's good you're going to the city now. Be prepared that they've probably shut down parts of the city. So
Hmm.
are you taking the train in?
No, we're gonna drive in. 'Cause
I
it's an hour to get there by train. It's half that by car.
I would double check road closures and to find out when they are
I mean,
happening.
the Google Maps should know about the road closures.
Not necessarily. I'll do it after the show. Anyway,
Okay. Yeah.
enough about that. That should have like been a 30-second conversation and it wasn't. So let's start the show and then we will get into where I am in Baldur's Gate.
Okay. Well, I'll run through a couple games I've been playing first. That way we can spend some time on Baldur's Gate.
All right, all right. I don't want to spend a lot of time on Baldur's Gate because we've got so much news to talk about. But let's start the show and then we'll talk.
Okay.
All right.
This podcast discusses video games, modern culture, and technology, and these podcasters are big fat potty mouths. If you're younger than 18 or are easily offended, please stop this podcast now. Oh, and your mom says to take out the trash and do your homework.
Hello and welcome to GameHounds. GameHounds episode 696. We are recording this on Sunday, November 12th, 2023. I'm Edie Sellers. With me is Nick DiNicola. And
Hello.
yeah, we're here. And we're I'm still trying to find that damn list of attendees. I will not be denied.
Okay. While you do that, I will run through a couple games that I've played this week.
All right.
A couple smaller things.
Okay.
Because I need to play other things than Baldur's Gate, right?
Uh-huh.
That game, it's so long that if I just played it, I would only play it. I need to branch out and do other stuff.
Okay.
So, like, I played a game that just came to consoles called Mordhau. Years ago, like a decade ago, I saw Giant Bomb play Mordhau, and I thought it looked like a ton of fun. It's a medieval multiplayer melee game like Chivalry. And so as I was watching them play it years ago, I thought, boy, I hope that comes to consoles. That looks like fun. Years later, I see Chivalry 2 on consoles, and it looks the same as Mordhau. So I buy it and I fall in love with it. 6 years later or so, Mordhau has now finally come to consoles. So I immediately bought it, started playing it, and I shouldn't have.
Why?
It's a little bit more finicky than Chivalry. Like Chivalry 2 just feels better to play. But more importantly, maybe I just played it at the wrong day. But the servers were dead.
Really?
There was a server list that I could see that showed all the games being played.
Yeah, it looks just like Chivalry.
Right? Except that it's a little bit more finicky because I couldn't.
Are we sure this isn't Chivalry? I mean, yeah, no. It's Mordhau. It looks just like Chivalry.
Yeah. But like switching between classes was a little finicky. Like equipping different weapons and stuff was I couldn't figure out quite how to do it. But I went to the server list. There were 3 games being played in total. One of them had like 2 people in it. One of them had 5 people in it. The other had like 36. So I went and joined the 36 one, played around for a bit, and then thought, I think Chivalry 2 feels better to play.
Yeah.
And then I just stopped and deleted it because if I could go join Chivalry 2 now and get into a match full of people. Mordhau, it seems like no one's playing it on console.
Yeah, I could see that. This seems like it's a really good game for like PCs, not for consoles. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
And
one
I
thing
think it's
if
I
you
think it's
actually get
still
a
doing
lot of
well on
people that
PC.
join on to do console. That's one thing. But this is if everybody's already the whole key to games like this is you've got to have other players. It's
Yeah.
obligatory. You need it. It's not a game without it.
So yeah, unfortunately, it seems like the
And even
console
Chivalry, doesn't
base hasn't showed
Chivalry
up.
populate servers with NPCs if it doesn't have people?
I don't think so.
I thought it did. Why do
It's
I
not
think it
that.
did?
Maybe that's a mode we can play,
Possibly.
but I don't. And if so, like that's a really great idea.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think the game is still doing well on PC. But yeah, that seems like a console user base hasn't shown up yet. So maybe it will in time. But for now, I would say don't get this game because it seems like no one else is getting it.
Yeah, I mean, it almost seems like why? I mean, yeah, no, I haven't played it, but it is so similar, at least the way it looks, obviously the way it seems to feel. It's so similar to Chivalry. Why would you try another game that's not
I'm
Chivalry?
I'm also really curious, like, why it came to consoles now, because like I said, I first saw it on Giant Bomb. It feels like a decade ago.
Mhm.
It
Other than
was
the fact you have
so
fire
long ago.
grenades, which you don't have in,
Well,
which would
no,
be
yeah, you
nice.
do.
Do we in Chivalry?
One of the classes has a bomb that you can throw on the ground.
Ooh.
I have very distinct memories of running into a crowd, throwing it at my feet, and going just everything burns. So yeah, that's Mordhau. It seems like a good game, but stick to PC. Then I played a game called Silt, and some of these I played last week too, but we didn't quite have time to get it. Silt is a side-scrolling puzzle game in the vein of Limbo.
Mhm.
Uh, oh wait, AC Wraith says the game was released in 2019. Then they must have been playing like an early access
Hi,
version
Bist.
on Giant Bomb because it was not 2019.
That
Um,
must be.
it must have been earlier than 2019. But
Mhm.
anyways, Silt is a Limbo like that's not from a ex developer of Playdead Studios who made Limbo. I feel like this year has been populated with Limbo likes from people that made that. There was Somerville, there was Planet of Lana, then there's
Mhm.
Cocoon. This one, as far as I know, no one involved from Playdead Studios.
Mhm.
But it's a good one of those. You play as like a fisher, like a diver, a weird diver that can sort of, or you're not so much a diver as you're a force taking over the body of a diver that can then transport to other fish. And so a lot of the puzzles are you're kind of a diver and then you teleport into another fish. And what can this fish do? Sometimes it's got a hammerhead so it can break walls. Sometimes it can teleport. Sometimes
Mhm.
they can electrocute things. And so you kind of explore this
So you're a zombie virus.
kind of you explore this very
You're a
dark,
rider.
creepy fantasy underwater area that grows increasingly more surreal as you go. Like
Uh-huh.
you'll fight a boss and then you your like possessive force goes into the boss, which then activates like a machine that, and
Mhm.
then you go through what feels like a church that's got statues of like the boss character, statues of your diver character. it's it's a very weird surreal experience where it feels like there's such a long bizarre history to this diver character, and what it's not just one character, it's like a population of them. So
Mhm.
I have no idea what the story is about, but it is an effectively creepy,
That's
occasionally
kind of
stumping
messed
puzzle.
up.
Oh,
I mean,
it's wonderfully messed up in a lot of ways. Like it's a very good Limbo like in that way, in that it feels very dreamlike and bizarre. Like see,
mhm.
in the video, he just kind of instead of possessing the boss, he like took the boss soul into himself and is now being teleported into a black triangle. It's fucking weird.
If there was ever any proof that developers are potheads, Your
Nick,
Honor, I present my case.
okay, this would be a great game to get high and watch someone play.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
get high and play it because the puzzles would just you'd just be going around in circles like, what the fuck am I doing? What is this?
Okay, so this is actually really cool,
Yeah,
but
so
it's
so
weird.
yes, it's cool weird.
Yeah.
Silt is good, and then the best thing I played that I'm still playing and kind of
Mhm.
loving is a game called Chance of Sinar. And this is a puzzle game that tasks you with interpreting different languages.
Oh,
You're
interesting.
you're just a hooded figure who's trying to climb a tower. And each level of this tower is kind of populated with a different society. You've got a society of like churchgoers, then you've got a warrior society, then you've got like an artist society. And each of these societies has a different language, and that language is represented with glyphs. And so you go around, just you kind of go around adventure gaming your way through this level of the tower. But as you do, you encounter conversation. And like in the video, you've got a soldier telling other soldiers, giving them commands. Pick up this chest, drop this chest, push this crate. And you have to listen to them. You have to look at the glyphs, and then you have to try to figure out what do these glyphs mean. And it starts off pretty easy, at least in terms of interpreting a language easy. You'll get a symbol like unlock, which is kind of a C. And then you'll get a symbol that's a C next to like half moon. And it's like, okay, well, what does this mean?
Lock.
It's the unlock symbol with another symbol. And that turns out to be key, right? So it's
Okay.
like, so then okay, if I see that half moon, that means an object that does what this other symbol does.
So
So
the
then,
the typography kind of, I forget what that's called. It's like the actual, I think it's called typography, but it actually
yeah, it
it
matters.
relates. It
Yeah.
actually gives you a clue.
And so then when you get a symbol that means music, and then you get a symbol that's a music with the half moon, you're like, that must be musical instrument, right? An
Mhm.
object that does music.
Right.
But that's just the first level. Then you go to the warrior level, and all the symbols change. They change, but then you get new ones. And so it's really interesting to see, what does this new society represent? Like, the church going society has a word for God. The warriors don't have any word for God, but they do have word for duty. That's kind of treated the same way.
Mhm.
The artist doesn't have any word for God, but they have a word for beauty that they kind of treat the same way. Like, and so you kind of see, each different society, the how the language represents each of these different levels of society. But then the construction of the language changes too, so that like with the artist society where I'm at now, there is no word for not. There is a symbol that represents not, but it's a symbol that goes on both ends of the sentence. You know how in Spanish, if there's a question, you have like a question mark at the end and then a question mark at the beginning that's upside
Mhm.
down. It's like that. So I'm going through, and all of a sudden I'm seeing these symbols repeat on either end of the sentence. And I think, what does that mean? Oh, this is not. Then I see another symbol that repeats, and it's like, well, okay, it's at the beginning and the end. That means it must be something that is like changing the meaning of the sentence. Maybe this is a question mark.
Mhm.
And so again, like the construction of the language differs between these levels of society. And thankfully, as you go around, uh you'll find some paintings that are like, hey, here's a statue of someone with a symbol underneath it. And so you can pretty definitively say this symbol means this. And what's cool about the game is when you open up the menu and you open up a symbol, you can just like type in using the PlayStation's keyboard, I think the symbol means this. And so then when you go around and you kind of see people talking, the game will take that text that you wrote and put it in a sentence. And so you can kind of see the sentences form with your
Right.
interpretation of it.
Right.
But
And
then
that helps you
sometimes,
interpret.
or it can work against you when you get a word completely wrong.
Right.
But then as you find more symbols, occasionally your character will stop and you'll open a notebook, and the notebook will have like 3 pictures with a space for symbol next to it. And you have to like put in, I think this symbol applies to this picture. And if you get it right, the game validates that and will kind of permanently interpret it with the correct interpretation from then on. And
Mhm.
so you do get into situations where you can kind of brute force it. Like, I know this symbol means hello. I know this symbol means pickup. And so I can just kind of slot everything else into this other picture until I get it right, and then the game will validate that. But it's a really fun, occasionally maddening process of interpreting, trying to find new symbols, trying to find enough new symbols that then he'll open a notebook and I can look at it and go, okay, what can I do? The part that I'm stumped at now, just recently, I need to figure out what the cardinal directions are: north, south, east, and west. I
Mhm.
have all the symbols. I have part of a map, but I put in the symbols that I think this means north, south, east, west, and this means compass, and it didn't validate. So now it's stuck in that situation where I'm thinking, okay, what am I missing? What is the missing symbol here? I'm interpreting something wrong. What is it?
Mhm.
And it can be maddening at times, but it's also really, really satisfying when I get one of those notebooks and I think, I'm going to put this symbol here, this here, this here. It instantly validates. And I think, yes, I know this. I know what you're trying to say. It's, yeah, excellent game. I'm really enjoying it. It's so clever in how it just turns language itself into a puzzle, but then also, like I said, uses the language to emphasize the different what each society considers important and how they think. It's a
Right.
really cool game.
That's really cool. And what did you play this on? You play this on, oh, you said PlayStation, right?
Yes, I think it's out for pretty much everything.
Okay. How much was it?
$20, 25.
Ooh, that's spendy.
I mean, I think most indie games are kind of at that level now.
Yeah, but is it worth 20?
I absolutely think so.
Okay.
I'm really loving it.
Yeah, you were the one. I trust you when it comes to sometimes these games when you go, oh, you would love this game. Like you were the one that got me onto
Oh yeah, $20.
yeah. Oh, see, $20. Yeah. Um, you were the one that got me onto what's the game that I loved so damn much and I can't remember the name. I got
Chivalry
volley brain.
2?
No. The one with the typography and everything looks like an illuminated text.
Oh, Pentiment.
Pentiment.
Yeah. Pentiment was good.
If you have not played Pentiment, stop what you're doing right now. Go spend the money. It's worth every penny. Pentiment is so good. Um, so yeah, it's on Steam, Switch, Xbox One, and PS4.
Okay. And AC Ray says, apparently the letter A is a symbol that repeats in Sinar.
Oh,
Oh, is it SNA? Yeah,
AR.
SNAAR.
All right, we are fixing that.
I haven't noticed that, but then it's one of those games where you need. I was playing it last night, late at night, and I could feel myself kind of fading. And I'm
Mhm.
staring at these symbols and these pictures,
Yeah,
trying to interpret it, slowly fading. And eventually it hit me like, I am not in the right frame of mind to do this.
I need to put this
I,
down and walk away.
like, I have no logical deduction in me at the moment.
Yeah, you're punch drunk. I've had a number of this. Pentiment was like that, where you're just playing it so
Mm,
much and you realize I have to stop because I'm only hurting myself at this point. I am too fatigue drunk to actually figure out the solution here.
yeah.
That's a sign of a good game that makes you want to play so much that you play it to the point of where you can no longer play.
Yeah. That makes me go like, okay, I'm looking at these directions. I don't know what it, but I'm so close. Like
I'm
I'm
so
so
close.
close.
If I just think about
I
it just a little
have it.
bit more.
Mhm. I'm thinking about it, but god damn, these symbols are so similar. You've got like a little squiggle here and then a little
Gotta be
squiggle in the other
related. It's
direction.
what could it possibly be? It almost reminds me of uh, a the same kind of thought process that's required for uh, a crossword puzzle, in that you're
Mm,
given enough clues about what it might be, and it's like, oh, it's like if I know I've got the description, I sort of know what it is. I know what it's about, but I don't know what it is, and I can't quite figure it out. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love games like that.
So yes, very good game.
Good.
If you're looking for a puzzle game, highly recommend Chance.
Okay. Anything else?
Baldur's Gate.
So much Baldur's Gate. So much Baldur's Gate.
I
I don't
got
even want to
to
say how many hours. I don't even know how many hours I'm at right now.
oh.
I purposefully have not looked.
You're scared to look.
I am scared to look.
I went through the Githyanki Crash is something that you're very quickly pointed towards in the beginning of the game. And I finally went and did that area. But what I realized is when you go to a new area like this, the story points you to, hey, go talk to the boss. You can not do that right away, and you can run around that area, talk to everybody there, get
Mhm.
quests, trade with people.
I highly recommend doing that. I made that mistake. I made
Yes,
that mistake.
because I immediately went to the boss. Things didn't quite go well. Things went bad. I may have killed some people, and
Let's
then
not quibble
the en-
about who killed who.
eh, then maybe the entire crash became my enemy, and so I could no longer like go to the doctor to help out with my worm problem. I could no longer trade with the trading person. I just had to murder everyone. And it's like,
Oh.
I wish I didn't have to kill all of you, but I'm going to.
Yeah, I actually was very smart in that I did get everything pretty much that I needed to get from the goblin camp before I
Mm,
murdered the goblin camp. The problem was, if any of you have yet to play Baldur's Gate, I did not go I did not realize that I did not go entirely through the Emerald Grove, the Druid area, before I went and murdered everybody at the Goblin camp. And I missed some very, very crucial skills that I should have
mm.
gotten.
What did you miss in the Grove?
There is a girl that you talk to that you can learn how to be a bard from.
Oh, really?
Hmm. And I knew about her, and I didn't go do it.
Hmm.
Because I
I
figured
didn't
I'd come
find
back
her.
to it, but I didn't realize that when you kill the Goblin Camp, then it breaks down the Emerald Grove.
Well, I don't know if it breaks down because there's a lot of people whose quests, like I talked to them in the Grove and they said, "Oh, hey, I'll
I'll
meet
see you
you
in the
later
city.
in Baldur's Gate."
You
So,
will. You will see them in the city, but that's
okay.
quite a ways away.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Um, I did not go to the Githyanki Crush yet. However, I have gone into the Underdark.
Yeah, how did that Beholder fight go? Oh, I will say, I got the Necronomicon that you pointed out to me last
Oh, you got
the
the Necronomicon?
the first thing I did last Sunday night is I went to that house, down, talked to the mirror. I think I got the incorrect answer like 3 times in a row. It kept popping out and turning on the skeletons, waking them, and I killed them, went back. It's like, okay, clearly that was the wrong answer. But
Yeah,
eventually I
I have
got
really high
inside and got the book.
persuasion, so I just persuaded it to let me in.
Oh, nice. So yeah, I did that. I did find the beholder. Um, I didn't like
It's
that
not
fight.
called a beholder, it's called a spectator.
Yeah, but it looks like a beholder.
Mhm.
Um, man, that fight was annoying. I didn't beat it, but like it kept unparalyzing, unstoning, what's the word? Petrify. It
Mhm.
kept unpetrifying the statues, and then they
Yeah.
came to attack me.
Yeah.
Like, why? I'm not the one that petrified you.
Okay, so I did. I was able to kill the beholder class slash spectator in one go, the first
Nice.
time. The it is I mean, do you want to know what's going on there?
Sure.
Okay, it petrifies things. It petrified all those people that are around it. And it unpetrifies them and possesses them to attack you. If you kill the spectator, they're released and then they give you information.
Wait, if you kill them?
If you kill the spectator and not them,
Oh, interesting.
and the fight ends.
Oh, I wonder if then you could attack the unpetrified people, but you could use non-lethal attacks. Would that work?
I have not yet had non-lethal attacks work. Every time I turn on non-lethal attacks, I end up murdering them anyway. So
Yeah, same here. And I don't quite figure out, like,
I
is
haven't.
it only some attacks that are non-lethal? I don't know
I
why.
don't. Yeah, you would think that if you put on non-lethal attacks, you would attack them all the way down to 1, and that would be it. I did do the witch, Auntie Ethel, the hag, and got through that. I have since, after I did that and to its end, found out that there was an alternate way that I could have done it that would have given me a kind of bonus. Is your headset on? Because I heard it wasn't on there for a second. Nope, you've
No.
switched over to your computer mic. See, I'm not the
Can
only one.
you hear me?
I can hear you, but it is your computer mic, not your
Okay,
headset.
yeah, the headphones were running out of batteries and I plugged it in, but
Yeah, see, I feel you. This is exactly my problem that I had. So I'll let you work on that. Man, this is kind of like Spoilerville, so sorry. If you have not played Baldur's Gate and you want absolutely nothing to be spoiled, you probably should stop listening. I wanted to know, what did you do with the dead husband?
I gave the wand.
Oh, by
of
the way, it's
resurrection-
still on your computer mic.
I know.
Okay, so
But-
go ahead.
I gave the wand of resurrection to the wife,
Oh,
and she brought him back as a zombie, and then was like, "Well, I'm going to take him to Baldur's Gate and see what I can do." And it's like, "Well, okay, bye."
yeah. I took the wand of resurrection. I
Mm.
raised him. She's like, "This isn't what I wanted. This isn't what I wanted. I want to take him to the city and see what I can do." And I'm like, "No, you stupid woman. No. I had to go through all of this to save your ass. You got your brothers killed because of this. And now your husband is a zombie. You need to stop. I think we're just going to relieve you of this wand." So now I have a zombie at my command whenever I want to call it up.
That's cool.
Now I came across something that I only have seen. I saw it, I looked it up, I did research on it, and I only see one person has mentioned it, right? In all of the people that played Baldur's Gate, only one person has mentioned it on one thread on Reddit, and 2 people responded and said he was wrong. But the thing is that I hear it too.
What is it? Shepard, I need you to get down.
Okay, so you have to. Can you hear me? You probably can't.
No, I can. I can hear you through the speaker.
Oh, okay.
But yeah.
Okay,
it's
you
very
know when you have to rescue the shipment that has been got attacked
the
by
bull.
gnolls, and you
Yeah.
got the 2 guys kind of pinned down in the cave, and you have to kill the gnolls.
Yeah.
Okay, so killed the gnolls, and if you go looking around that cave looking for loot, if you go into one corner of the cave, you can hear a puppy crying. It's not constant, but if you're there long enough, you will hear a puppy going, and it will go maybe, a good minute, 45 seconds. And I'm thinking there's a gnoll puppy in there somewhere. But I looked everywhere to a point where I actually got myself stuck and had to be rescued Thank God I had somebody that could cast flight because I had jumped down into a place I never should have been able to jump down into
No.
and couldn't get myself out. And fortunately, I was able to have one of my companions cast flight on me so that I could fly out of there, because otherwise it would have been a loss of like a couple of hours of gameplay. But yeah, and it's definitely in one corner you can hear a puppy crying. And I went and looked it up, like puppy crying, Knoll Cave. And one person brought it up and everybody's like, nah, you're just hearing things. They're all dead. It's like, am I hearing things? Because
That's
I really, 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 really hear a puppy crying here. So yeah, I don't know. But that's my big, big, big mystery of that. So now I'm in the Underdark. It's really cool. How have you gotten into the Underdark yet? I haven't gone to the Crest yet, but I am in the Underdark. So I'm a little concerned that I'm skipping part of Act 1 before I go to Act 2. So I don't know if I should go back and go to the Crest.
From what I understand, you've got the Grove, then you've got the Forest Path and the Underdark, and both of those are still kind of part of Act 1.
I did not go past the Forest Path. When it started taking me into a new area, I stopped.
Yeah, going into the Githyanki Crest kind of takes you to the Forest Path.
Right.
But I know, like, it and the Underdark, like, you can kind of do them both at the same time.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure I'm not doing, because I have done things out of order, like I said, and it kind of screwed things up.
Yeah, I think only when you go to Moonrise Tower, that's when you kind of leave these 3 areas.
Got it. So I need to go back to the Crest before I go to the Moonrise Tower.
Yeah, I had heard, because I looked it up before, is that people recommended doing the Forest Path, and then once you get to Moonrise Tower, going back and going through the Underdark.
Doing the Forest Path, and then once you get to the Forest Tower, then do the Underdark?
Yeah, just because.
I'm trying to get to there through the Forest Path.
Yeah,
No, I'm trying to get to Baldur's Gate by going through the Underdark, not through the cursed area above ground.
Both places will take you to Moonrise Tower.
Okay.
Yeah. And I had read people recommended doing the Forest Path first, because there you can find something for Gale to help with his little magic addiction.
Okay. Good to know.
Mm-hmm.
So I've pretty much, I think, done most of the Underdark.
You son of a bitch. Cat's ruining the furniture.
Of course it is. Your headset's still not working, by the way.
Wait, it's not?
No.
Okay, I think I need to switch it. There we go.
Give it a second.
Okay, how's this?
There you go. Now we have your headset. So, yeah, Underdark. I think I'm mostly done with it.
Okay.
When you get, because remember, I had discovered the Underdark and had found the fortress before I even finished the Grove. So, like I said, I got things out of order. And so when I finally met Halson, I was like, he's like, there's a fortress in the Underdark. I'm like, been there, done that. I got it. And so now it's like whenever I go to ask him questions, it's asking, like, tell me more about this fortress. It's like, I've got the fortress. Trust me, I got everything out of it.
Yeah, I know it. Come on, tell me something else.
Right. I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt. I'm fine. Now from there, I was able to find, I didn't see back then that there was this other like path that takes you into the Underdark proper. I will say this. I am super glad I'm playing a drow. Super glad I'm playing a drow. Playing a drow is making at least this whole act so much easier.
Oh, is it night vision?
No, it's the fact that I'm a drow.
Oh.
And the drows are connected, like the whole drow / the whole like absolute drows, the tadpole thing, all of that is like playing. And so pretty much wherever I go, I just walk in and say, I belong here. And it was like, okay, don't have to fight anybody. I make friends with both sides until I decide which side I'm going to kill. Same thing with
Oh,
the
interesting.
goblins. I just walked right in
Hmm.
because they treat me
Okay.
differently because I'm a drow.
Ah, all this racism against half elves.
Right. Now the only place that it was a little like is in the green the Emerald
The
Emerald
Grove.
Circle. Emerald Grove.
Oh, okay.
But I was able to overcome that. I was just like, hey, not all drows are the same. I was like, yeah,
Bitters. Plus, when I said I had to kill all the Githyanki, he says, paint the land with the blood of your enemies.
okay. By the way, all right. If you're under 18, please click off. You shouldn't be listening to this part.
Have you gotten lucky?
No, I have not gotten lucky.
How? I've already slept with 2 of my members.
No, it hasn't happened yet. I'm slow playing it. I believe in mating once and for life.
No, I'm trying to fuck everybody.
But
I
it's
want-
not like I haven't had offers.
I want my camp to be a big orgy.
Holy crap! Has what's the name of the Githyanki character?
Oh, Lizelle.
Lizelle has. Holy shit! Does she come on strong?
Yeah.
I'm like literally having to keep her at arm's length. Like, no, don't tell me about how you can smell my wetness. I don't need to know this.
Yeah.
This is not okay. Not okay. I need to call HR right now. There's a problem here.
She's very forward.
Yes. Yes. She keeps on telling me how I've screwed up and how she could be tasting me right now. I'm like, I don't want it. Thank you. I'll just have the salad, please. Yeah. It's a little like off-putting. Like it's making me like push back into my couch. Like, please stop. This is not okay. I'm feeling triggered. Why did I have to be a victim of Me Too in my own video game?
Hey, look, you say no and she respects that.
No, she does not.
Well,
She does not. She just keeps on reminding me how I screwed up with her no.
Mm-hmm.
Not okay.
Bitter says, just pick my favorite companion.
Yeah. I would recommend if you want to watch a just like over the top, like seriously, HR write up worthy experience, deny her. Deny Lizelle as many times as you can, and then accept.
I've seen the any percent sex speed runs focus on Lizelle.
Oh, she's so easy.
If you start as a Githyanki too, that's just even better. She's just like, oh, you rescued me? I'm gonna jump your bones now.
Instant. Yeah. So no, I have not anybody yet. Kind of keeping everybody sort of at arm's length just because I want to like
You want to feel them out, get a sense of who they are as a person.
Very much how the kind of person, how you play that in at least that part of the game, very much is reflective, I think, of the person that you are. And yeah, pretty much everybody that wants to jump my bones instantly is like a big no.
Yeah, you know me. I love my orgies.
Nick, I know for a fact you would if you could.
I don't know.
That's what I'm saying.
The
That's what
opportunity has
video
never
game
come up.
shows you what you would do if you could do.
Okay. I mean, I've already in a fling with Shadowheart and Lizelle. I'm trying to get with Asterion. He seems to like me. He seems to approve of me, but he just won't put out.
Asterion keeps like enticing me, and I'm like, no, dude, sorry, I'm not. No.
I thought I thought when I let him bite me that would be like an
Yeah.
invitation for more, but
Yeah.
hasn't yet.
That happened instantly with me. Like the first night.
Oh, yeah?
The first night. That's what he did. Well, I
Oh,
should take it back. The second night. The first night he snuck off. The second night he bit me.
okay, yeah. I remember at one point, like that first night he sneaks off, and then at some point I was exploring and we came across the carcass of a pig that was drained of blood.
Oh, I never put that together.
Oh, you found it too?
Mhm.
Yeah.
The bloodless pig.
Mm-hmm.
Bloodless pork, in fact. And then we used it for
Yeah. I
camp supplies.
assume that's what he was doing.
I never put that together. Interesting.
Yeah, it's a cool detail.
Um,
Also, AC Wraith says, were there any Gremshka down in the area because they can mimic sounds? Maybe
no.
that's the puppy.
No, there was no Grumshka. It was only gnolls. Gnolls and hyenas.
Okay, because that also
And the 2
reminded me.
humans.
There was a area in the crash when I was fighting. I was fighting a group of people in a room, and there kept being little sound effects coming from like a chest, like panting, like crying. And I'm like, what the hell is that? And I kind of forgot about it in the middle of the fight. But then I did a huge area of effect spell, and which broke open the chest, and then a Gromeshka appeared and started fighting the other Githyanki because apparently they had kidnapped it.
Oh, interesting. No, I had not seen that at all. I'll have to, I mean, I opened every chest.
That
So I
was
thought,
that was in the crash.
yeah.
I imagine, I don't know, maybe it's hiding somewhere, if it's even there. Who knows?
So apparently, when you go to the crash, you can get, before you get, is it before you get to the crash? Yeah, I think so. Or when you get into the crash, or at some point, you can get this sword that you're not supposed to get until Act 3. If you use, remember I told you about that little sneaky exploit that I used about sending someone in, picking it up, send it to camp, and
Oh yeah,
then letting them die and then resurrecting.
yeah.
You can do that with this sword that's apparently freaking amazing.
I know. I think I know what you're talking about.
The
Have
sword that
you?
the head dude, the head dragon rider has.
Yeah, have you encountered them yet?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Apparently, you have to make them drop the sword somehow first, and then you can pick it up.
Yes, I can't remember how you can make them drop the sword.
I think there's a command spell that you can get that's like command them to
Disarm.
drop it.
Yes,
Um,
you can.
yeah, or because yeah, I think maybe if you started the fight with a surprise, because if you get too close, it triggers a cutscene where
Mhm.
that character flies away. So I imagine you have to sneak up and trigger a fight before you trigger the cutscene
Right.
to try to
You can
disarm
do
it.
that all the time, which in some ways is a little annoying, but also I appreciate that you can end up triggering a fight with an NPC that's not an enemy.
Yes, yeah. You can kind of
And
surprise them.
by surprising them, which gives you an advantage, an initiative advantage,
Hmm.
which you tend to want to do. But if they were supposed to be friendly and be able to provide you information, you wouldn't know that. Like, I had that exact thing happen in the Underdark, and
Mm.
I should have gone back to check, but I don't know if that guy was friend or foe before I murdered him and all of his friends. As it is, I ended up getting a bunch of stuff out of him, and I don't really wanna do it
Okay.
again. So, um,
Oh
but I
yeah,
will
there
say
was.
this, let me give you a big piece of advice. All right? Under no circumstances, when you go to the Underdark, under no circumstances should you kill the flower children
Okay.
unless they attack you first.
Okay.
If they attack you, absolutely go get them. But if when you get up to the flower people camp, I forget what they're called. Don't attack. That's a bad thing.
Okay,
You miss out on a lot.
okay, and I'm assuming when you say flower people, you're not talking about hippies.
No, I forget what they're called. I
Okay.
can look it up, but yeah.
That reminded me of a guy I encountered a long time ago. Did you meet the vampire hunter?
Yes. Right
What did you
after the hag. After I killed the hag, then I went and saw the vampire
what did you
hunter.
do with him?
I said maybe I might have met him and maybe he's in my camp and maybe he's under
Oh.
my protection. And he's like, he's a monster. You should do something about him. I'm like, oh, well, maybe here's the location of my camp. And everybody's like, what? Did you tell me the location of our camp? So,
What
of
did
course,
you
then maybe I went back to camp and I told Asterion, maybe I told this monster hunter where you are. Actually, hey, what's the deal with this monster? I found a monster hunter's after you. He's like, oh, he's clearly coming from my master. He's trying to get me back. Oh, we need to stay away from him. Well, here's the thing. I might have told him where our camp is. What? Why did you do that? I'm like, for an ambush.
Okay.
And he's like, not bad. Well, I'll take the first watch tonight, and I'll take care of him. I'm like, you sure you don't want me to do it? And he's like, nope, I'll take care of it.
Okay.
And the next morning you wake up and it's like, how's things? These guys, problem solved. Feeling great. And,
Okay.
I feel like having a nice nap after a big meal.
I had Asterion in my party
Uh-huh.
when I met that guy.
Oh.
And as we're talking, I also was like, yeah, I might have met him. But then I chose the wrong dialogue option
Oops.
where I said, like, oh, what do you think, Asterion? And I didn't quite realize that the text is what I'm speaking. I thought it was like, oh yeah, this is what I'm asking him what he thinks about this. But the moment I clicked it, the hunter was like, that's Asterion? I have to kill him. And immediately a fight started. It's like, oh shit. What am I gonna do? But that was the one time when the non-lethal attack worked, where I turned that on and I did the damage like I usually would.
Mhm.
But then in the end, it says you've knocked out this character.
Oh.
And so I was
What
able
did you
to
do differently?
there's a trigger
I
in
know,
your
but what
in
did
your
you do
wheel.
differently other than that? Because I've triggered that all the time.
I'm not quite sure. Maybe magic attacks can't be non-lethal, or maybe like only regular attacks can be non-lethal. But for whatever reason, I didn't kill him. I just knocked him out, and then I completely looted his body and left him there. But I'm curious to see if he shows up again.
Oh, I'm sure he will.
Mhm.
So if you are also playing, bit of advice, and it comes down to non-lethal. Case in point, I tried non-lethal and it didn't work. If you get the hag down to less than 10 points of health, she may offer to stop fighting and offer you a deal if you let her go.
Yeah,
And she gives you a present, a bribe, essentially.
it's a pretty good bribe.
Yeah. Did you get it?
I took the bribe.
Oh, of course. Unfortunately, I'd already killed the owlbear cub by the time you told me about the owlbear cub. I killed everything.
Monster.
If it hits me, I'm going to hit it. It's just the way
Evil.
things go.
The fight with the hag, that was so you're fighting next to a giant pit.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And over the pit is a cage with a captive in it.
yes, and she begins the fight by lighting that cage on fire.
Mm-hmm.
So you're on a time limit.
Mm-hmm.
The first move I did is I took my sorcerer, walked up to she splits herself into a bunch of illusions. I walked up to one, used Thunder Wave to knock it into the pit. that turned out to be her. So turn 1, win the fight. Then I run down and I'm like, wait, shit. How do I open this cage?
Yeah,
How do
that
I
was
do
my
this?
problem with
What
opening
do I do?
cage.
And then it burns. She falls into the pit and dies. And I thought, and I was
I
like,
was trying all through the
"Hmm."
fight how to figure out how to get up to the cage. Like I was trying to use myself, which was a rogue, to jump up to figure out, and then finally, like I think probably the last turn before it fell, I realized that my mage has a frost spell,
Mm.
a frost ray. So I hit it with a frost ray, and the fire goes out, and she starts screaming, "Kill her! Kill her! Kill her!"
I didn't think to do that, but
Yeah.
instead I reloaded the game because I thought I don't want to kill her.
Yeah.
Started the fight again, ended up being much more of an issue, but there's a switch down by the cage. And I just went, I
Oh,
flipped
yes,
that
it's a big
switch.
ball. That it
Yeah,
did not look like a ball. It looks like a light. Just go
I
over to the ball. Yes,
I
I've
flipped
done
that
that.
switch, it came down, she stepped out, as it was still on fire, and I was like, okay, good. Now she's safe. Now I can focus on killing the
Yeah,
hag.
yeah, that was the other thing. It's like after I killed the hag, I'm like, okay, well, how do I get you out of the cage now? And
Hmm.
then finally it's like, oh, switch. Fuck. I was standing right next to it the whole time.
Yeah, yeah. It's very
Um,
useful with the controller. If you click in the left stick, it kind of turns
click
into
the left
cursor
stick
mode.
constantly.
Oh, that's so great.
Yeah. It doesn't show you everything. Like it doesn't show you boxes that you might need to loot, but it does show you some stuff that is usually important, like levers and triggers.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, yeah. Uh, I'm freaking loving the game. It's definitely a slow play. I will spend something like 3.5 hours, and it's like I have done nothing.
Yeah.
I've just got to the new area from where I was.
I think when I stopped playing,
Oh, there's a
all
bug. The non-lethal attack bug?
oh, interesting. The last time I stopped playing, all my characters had leveled up, and I know when I start playing again, the next time I open it, I'm going to spend an hour leveling them up, thinking what spells should they get, giving them new equipment, and that's going to be like my night of playing. But that's fun. I like that inventory management. I like the character creation where you actually like, you know, create a character. In fact, Will, I never used Will before. Like he was
Mhm.
my least used character until I gave him this spell called like he starts one with like Arms of Hater, but there's an upgraded version of it, and I gave him that spell, and that spell is dangerous because it creates a big fog, huge area of effect, blinds anyone in it, but then anyone in it takes damage at the beginning of their turn and
And
at
at
the
the end
end
of
of
your
the
turn.
turn. And so all of a sudden he becomes super useful for crowd control.
Mhm. Yeah. Um, Another really, really, really good spell is there is oh god, I can't remember what it's called. Shadowheart gets it.
Oh, is
It's
a Spirit Guardian?
no, I haven't. I got Spirit Guardian, haven't used it yet. It is the ward, a ward of destruction, I think it is called.
Oh.
And you ward the ground. And the thing is that I was afraid to use it because I thought, okay, what if a friendly walks across it? And so I kind of saved during a fight and then moved the friendly forward. Friendlies don't trigger it. Only
Oh, that's
foes
nice.
trigger it. But a foe will trigger it and it will affect everything inside of the circle. So just make
Okay.
sure that it's not nobody that you know, don't make sure your tank's not standing next to the guy.
Yeah. Okay, that's good to
And
know.
then you can pick what you want to happen to that that enemy or enemies. You can decide if it's going to reduce their wisdom so that you could affect their wisdom saving throws for the rest of the turn, or the Constitution saving throws, or you can affect their charisma saving throws, whatever saving throw you want. So it's important to know your most powerful attacks that your fighters have and what the saving throws are on them so that you can most effectively lay down the ward that you want. You can
Yeah.
also do a general ward of like explosion. You can do a general ward of reduced attack damage, just kind of stuff
Okay.
like that. Additional damage ward where whenever anybody hits them, it's additional damage. But the most effective way to use it is to change the God, something's reflecting. Oh, it's my car out front. Ah! You can change the saving throw modifier so that you're more likely for everybody to be more effective in their fight, their attacks. So yeah, loving Baldur's Gate. Can't wait till we get off talking about this so I can go play some more
Yeah.
and do laundry.
Yeah, I've also got laundry piling up. It's funny how that happens when
Yeah,
you
Sunday night.
spend your free time. Well, I could do laundry, but I could also go play a game.
Yeah, you know what? You can do laundry and play a game. That's the nice thing when you have a laundry in your apartment.
Sure, but
your
then
house.
you're still gonna fold it all.
Do you really?
Yeah, just throw it into a pile.
That's what laundry baskets are for. They're just, I don't call them laundry baskets. I called them off-site storage.
Ah, yes. They're clean baskets.
They're the clean basket versus the dirty basket. All right. Anyway, shall we move on? Because we got a lot to talk about in news.
Yes.
All right. Let's hit the news. This is the game news, views, and commentary of the week in gaming with Gamer Edie and Nick Nicola. And our first item is...
Do you want to go first?
Oh yeah,
go
I
first?
definitely want to go first because
Okay.
there's things to talk about. Absolutely, big things. My big story is during this new section, not Baldur's Gate. Remember the feature we had for a really long time this week in the Epic versus Apple shit show?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're reviving this week in the Epic versus Apple shit show. And this week, the big thing in the Epic versus Apple shit show is the Epic versus Google shit show. Yes,
Yeah.
friends, just when you thought it was almost over, except for the Supreme Court, it's still going on. Epic, when it sued Apple in 2020, also sued Google at the same time. The difference is that the Google suit has been delayed, and finally not delayed. It started and opened Monday morning of this week. Now, to remind you to go back to kick the Wayback Machine of what this is all about. All right. Epic is like what they did with Apple, accusing Google of an illegal monopoly. Essentially, they're saying that Epic, the company that makes Fortnite, they make money by selling in-game V-Bucks, their own in-game currency, and they make a lot of it. And people that play Epic, Fortnite buy the V-Bucks, and the Epic, both Apple and Google essentially penalized, and in the case of Apple, through Fortnite off of the Apple store, App Store, because Epic tried to create its own way of selling V-Bucks to its players that essentially edged Apple out. Essentially, it wasn't through the App Store. So, because everything that's sold through the App Store, Apple requires a 30% cut. Google does the same thing with the Google Play Store. By purchasing V-Bucks through the Google Play Store, it triggers an in-app payment fee to Google. These are called the Google tax or the Apple tax, and it's 30%. So Epic decided to take action against all of these taxes by filing suit against Apple and by filing suit against Google, saying that for their respective platforms, they held an illegal monopoly that essentially gouges all of the developers and is leading to the costs of these V-Bucks hurting consumers. It hurts consumers, they say, because now they have to charge more for the V-Bucks and they could charge less. Now, you and I both know Epic, if those charges weren't there, Epic would charge the same thing. This is not about consumers. And I think that it's completely disingenuous for them to use the argument. Yes, they always use that argument because that's the whole point about monopolies is it hurts consumers. But ultimately, if those fees went away tomorrow, there's no way that Epic would give us a 30% discount on V-Bucks. Not me, but all the players.
I mean, I don't know if they give it 30%, but I guess,
They're not going to. They
Because-
might reduce it if they won, which they haven't. They did not win with Apple. Essentially, with Apple, the judge, 99% of their suit, Apple won. There's one part of that Apple suit that didn't win. The judge back in 2021 ruled, the judge Yvonne Gonzalez Rogers ruled that Apple didn't have an unfair monopoly and that Epic violated its developer agreement with Apple by trying to open up its own external Apple store and circumvent the whole, not its Apple store, open up its own Epic store to sell the V-Bucks, circumventing the Apple store, which is a violation of a terms of service. So that Apple, essentially Epic had to pay Apple. The only thing that she did rule in Epic's favor is that she barred Apple from keeping iPhone users. She barred Apple preventing developers from telling users about alternate ways that they can pay for apps, like essentially backloading.
allow people to point to another direction.
Right. Or at least say on their website, hey, you can download it on the Apple Store, or you can download it at this place. So yeah, it was essentially a big fat L for Epic. Epic had filed the suits already with Google, so they couldn't unfile. I mean, they could have, but they didn't. They chose not to since they'd already done it. No point in doing it. And Epic is, and we're anticipating this to go to the Supreme Court too. So they're probably going to be some kind of decision by the Supreme Court, either hearing it and making a decision or not hearing it at all.
Which is also a little crazy that Apple is pushing it that far when they won most of their case. They're pushing it that far just because they don't want to tell other people about alternate means of payment.
Yes. I believe Epic isn't Epic also taking it to the Supreme Court as well?
I guess they would have more of a reason to.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So if the future of the Google Play Store very much is a crux on this case, it could Epic wants to break up Google's alleged monopoly and get rid of the Google tax, or find an alternate way to circumvent the Google tax. If Epic wins, according to Google, Google says that if Epic wins, that the Google Play Store will be less safe because it will dismantle the basic protections against side-loaded apps, which is not entirely wrong. If you can go anywhere to get your Google app, you will have even more problems with, hacker apps. So here's the big developments in this week. First off, this is this week. After more than 1,000 days, the trial has officially started. That's kind of the big news. In the 4 days that they've had, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, here's what we've learned. One was that Spotify got a special deal from Google, which is something that Apple did not do for anyone. Spotify, which was Epic's single biggest partner in the Coalition for App Fairness lobbying group, it partnered with Google as part of a limited pilot program called User Choice Billing, which lets it bypass Google's full fee on Android. So Google made it sound like the user choice billing developers, the ones that joined in with the user-based developers, could simply pay 4 percentage points lower. So that means 26% and 30% for anything sold through the Google Play Store. So, however, if you read between the lines, you get a sense that Spotify is getting some sort of special treatment that others didn't.
Yeah,
And Google is saying, or Epic is saying, it is because Spotify was one of the partners in this Coalition for App Fairness. So essentially, they were bribing the other partner companies to Epic to essentially leave the lobbying group and to kneecap Epic.
As AC Wraith points out, it came out today that Netflix was also offered a special deal, but they turned it down.
They were offered a discounted rate of 10% of its in-app payments.
But they turned it down because they figured even they would still lose money with that. And so they just said, no, we won't pay this, and we'll just make people sign up through a mobile browser.
Yeah, that was my next one. Next one even got a more special deal, but they did say that they weren't going to take it. I think essentially it comes down to Google was trying to pay developers, and they had quite a bit of receipts for this, to stop this contagion among their biggest apps.
And what's crazy is they specifically use the word contagion. They talk about it like a disease spreading.
Yeah. I honestly think that the Epic has a better case against Google just because Google has way more receipts, and it tried to make some shifty behind the scenes deals that Apple just didn't make. And the reason why is because Apple makes the phones and the platform.
Yes.
Google only makes the platform.
And what's really crazy is, did you read the stuff about the chats being automatically deleted?
Yes, that their legal counsel told everyone that when they were talking about this to turn off your chat history.
Yeah.
Who knew that was a thing? I didn't know you could turn that off, but
no.
Hey, good to
know.
But
I guess a lot of Google employees, if they talk through chat, it will be automatically deleted within like 10 days or something.
Right. They essentially are WhatsApping.
And reading the recap from The Verge, there was one lady on there, like Margaret Law or something, there are multiple instances of her going, "Oh, hey, I see you have chat history turned off.
Can you
turn that on?
Can you turn that off for me, please?
Turn that off."
Right.
Boy,
oh no,
legal wouldn't like that we have this on.
Gold mine,
and it's like
gold mine for
Jesus.
Epic.
Because one of the things Epic wants to prove, or that they're arguing, is that Google deleted documents, that they had something to hide, and having her on there is like, it's such a bad look.
Yeah, yeah.
Geez.
And this really, 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 really does come down to the fact that Apple was unique in that it was, as they called it, a walled garden. That's the thing. It was a walled garden.
Yeah,
it was the hardware and the app and the software. It was everything. If you want to go on an Apple phone, you must go through Apple, period, the end. And that's kind of a thing. That's kind of like, okay, yeah, we get this. But Android, as much as everybody loves Android because they don't have to pay Apple prices, but that's all Google. And if you go to an Android phone, you can get an Android phone from a number of different companies. And really, it's just the platform. Without the platform, they have no legs. They have no feet. They have no body.
Yeah.
Much less knees to be cut out from underneath.
Before the case, it seemed like this would be a much harder case because supposedly Android is more open.
No.
If Epic lost this argument against the walled garden. How could they lose the argument against the more open system? But
The
yeah,
more
with
open system had to use way more scurrilous means to actually keep it closed.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, Apple's listen, you can say a lot of things about Apple. You could say you don't like their system, you can say you don't like their pricing, you don't say don't there's a big fat monopoly, but you know what? They're not stupid. They never have been.
hmm
Steve Jobs particularly never was a stupid man about that kind of stuff.
If anything, as much as I root for Epic in this, in that I do think that 30% development fee is not it's a vestigial leftover fee from physical media days, right? That's how much it costs to restock things. It's not a proper fee for the digital age. Like, it should be lower.
Right.
So as much as I support Epic in that, this whole dilemma is kind of arguing in favor of Apple's walled garden approach.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yep. All of a sudden,
I support
the
you in
walled garden seems like a much better place, doesn't it?
but maybe you're just convincing people to, like, not be open. Like, you may win this battle and then ultimately lose the war.
Yep. You're going to lose the war because I can guarantee you that Apple is now, or Google is now sort of regretting letting Android be on all these other phones, not just making a Google phone and then let LG and Samsung and all them figure out their own operating system.
Yeah. AC Wraith says, burn the walled garden. It never sounded good to me. I agree with you, but legally, it seems like this whole case is basically an argument for that. Because if Apple won,
From
but
a business
Google
point of view.
didn't, yeah,
Yep. Absolutely.
that
So,
sucks. But
yeah.
it's also crazy reading the back up. There's a show on Netflix called The Lincoln Lawyer, which is a really, really good legal show. Like, just solid meat and potatoes, like, really compelling. The guy, the main character, has a very distinct voice. When he gets up there and he starts talking, he's got like a slight Spanish accent, and like it sounds really good. Whenever I'm reading these recaps and I'm reading the lawyers talk, I hear his voice, and it's like, oh god damn. This is like a TV show.
It is. It is. Now you know why I love politics and being a wonk, because I don't even need to hear that voice for it to be interesting to me. So, not coincidentally, guess who's been in the courtroom every single day? Tim Cook has been in the courtroom every single day for this, because as much as Apple has already had its case, set and settled, what happens to Google does affect what's going to happen to Apple.
Yeah,
As
in
much
fact,
as what happened to Apple was going to affect Google.
Yeah,
It
like
just takes one of them to lose.
like
And the
what's
thing is that
funny,
Google's kind of fucked, and Google could take Apple down with it.
yeah, like some of the big mic drop moments are one of Google's whole arguments is that no, we didn't need to resort to all these scurrilous methods to promote our Play Store on Android, all because we're not competing with all these other Android storefronts. We're competing with Apple. But in all these documentations they have that they were shown in court is that Apple isn't mentioned in any of them. So in all these documents about competition on Android, we got to do this, we got to do this. There's no mention of supposedly your biggest competitor. And it's so, yeah, it was a cool, it makes for a really, really interesting read.
It does.
And it's really surprising to see Google like on the back foot as much as they are in this case. At least what it seems like reading the recaps.
Yep. Well, Bitters actually says here, we don't need no gross taxation. And while I love that, and it's going to be in my head for the rest of the day. Thanks for that. Here's the thing, is that it's not about you. as much as you kind of hope that you feel like you're being taxed, poor Epic's being taxed. Now they have to charge more for their V-Bucks and everybody has to charge more for their stuff. If they win, they 100% win. Hands down, it's all there. It's not going to change the price of V-Bucks. It's just going to it's not about you. It is about Epic having to pay an extra 30%. And if they don't have to pay that extra 30%, they are not giving it to you, the consumer. They are keeping it for themselves. This is about one corporation suing another so it can be even richer than it is. It is not about consumers. It says so on paper because it has to, because monopoly, and that's the whole point of breaking up monopolies, is it's not friendly to consumers. So they have to mention consumers, and they may stand behind that. But you know, and I know, if Apple or Google doesn't charge Epic that extra 30%, they're not dropping the price by 30%. They're not sending it back to you. They are not doing you any favors. They're pocketing that extra 30%. And you know
So
what they're going to say? Hey, it's our game. We get to charge whatever we want.
I think
Which
that's
is interesting because isn't that the same thing that they're complaining about Apple and Google? It's our software. We get to charge whatever we want.
I mean, I guess to be fair to Epic, their storefront is notoriously on the positive side of that, right? They don't take huge fees.
No, they don't use fees, but Epic doesn't have to use fees, but they're not going to reduce the price that you pay for a V-Buck.
No, but that's I don't know, that's a V-Buck. But like on their storefront, they
Yeah.
don't charge a 30% fee.
No. They don't. On their storefront, they don't charge a 30% fee for their games. But this is not about their games. This is about V-Bucks.
I mean, not really. Like it's about the storefront. I guess here's the thing. The thing ultimately, it's not about consumers. It's about developers.
It's not about developers. It's about publishers.
I guess, but like if the fee goes down on
Also,
Play Store, that applies to everyone.
Epic's Game Store doesn't sell mobile games.
No, but it sells games.
Right. And that's nothing to do with this. This has only to do with mobiles and the App Store.
Yeah.
It only has to do with Fortnite at this point.
Well, it has to do with the fees of hosting content.
The fees of hosting mobile phone content.
Well, this specifically, yes, but ultimately, what Epic is arguing is it's
Right.
the fees of hosting
The
content.
downhill of this is that if Google loses, and Apple didn't lose, but say it gets brought up in Supreme Court and they get taken out, and then Google also loses, yes, it will roll downhill to actual games, PC games, where it's going to be starting to affect Valve. Valve will no longer be able to take its
I wonder about that.
everybody uses that 30% number.
They do, but I wonder about that because I think the consoles could make the same argument that Apple did, right? It's their software storefront, but also their hardware.
Mhm.
Xbox and PlayStation are in the same situation as Apple is. Steam might not be, but then there's enough competitors to Steam that I don't know if
Steam is more like Google, and Xbox and PlayStation are more like Apple, and then
Yeah,
that's the walled
but I
garden.
don't think Steam has to resort to the
No, it's not
same
really walled either.
methods that Google did on the Play Store,
Mhm.
because this all comes to a good segue that it came out in court. Epic Storefront still is not profitable after 5 years.
Really? I didn't see that one.
Mhm. They are still pouring money into it, and if anything, maybe this speaks to higher fees being good because they're still not profitable. Part
Mhm.
of that is they don't take a lot of fees for the storefront, but also they are still like hand over fist giving games away for free. And so
Right.
they are spending a
Right.
lot of money to do that.
And if there was no Steam,
I'm sure you
If
wouldn't
there
get those
was no
free games.
Steam, if there was no Play Store, or they could, off, side load apps to the Play Store. If they could side load apps to Apple, they would absolutely be raising their fees on all of the games, because the only reason why Epic Play Store or Epic Store runs at a loss is because it's there for the lawsuit. It's about the lawsuit.
I don't know if it's there
Once the
for the
lawsuit
lawsuit.
isn't there, once there isn't a reason to be running it at a loss, they're going to raise the prices so that it's not running at a loss, because they won't shut it down.
No, I don't think they would do that though. I don't think they would raise their fees. I think you would stop getting free games because
Oh
I
yeah,
think
you definitely stop getting free games.
that's what's costing a lot of money.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why they're giving away the free games,
Yeah,
is
because
because
they're trying to get people to come to their store.
Right.
Except from also what I hear, this store is like very much not at feature parity from Steam. So maybe
Yeah.
it would be better if they stopped spending money on free games and instead invested that into feature parity with Steam, and maybe that would get more people to come over.
I think no. You know
Be-
why? Because it's a whole lot easier to turn off free games when they can. It's a whole lot easier to turn off the free games than it is
But the
to.
problem with that is that you end up in situations like what everyone on Reddit and in all the comment section and me and you do is I'm going to log on to Epic Store this month. I'm going to download my free game. I'm going to log off and never go back.
Mm-hmm.
So like they
But
need
if the Epic Store was the only place that you could buy that game, you'd have to. Features cost money to run. Features cost money to maintain.
But features
Why
also
would you increase the cost of something you can't turn off when you can just do something that increases the cost that you can turn off tomorrow?
because
Once all is said and done, once they've won all their lawsuits, once they don't have to deal with Valve, they'll just, if you want an Epic game, you have to go to the Epic Store.
well, except none of this lawsuit really affects Valve all that much. And
Not
like,
yet. No,
have
not
you-
yet. That's the thing. It's not now. It will in the future. That's what I was saying, is that this particular lawsuit is 100% about mobile. But the reverberations of Epic winning will be felt across many, 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 many industries and many, many different types of games.
Except that it still wouldn't help them against Steam because generally 90% of PC gamers like don't use the Epic launcher to play games. The reason why you want to invest in features is because that's user retention.
True.
Right now, giving away free games, you get people hop on, download the game, and then they leave. But because they got that game for free,
Yeah.
the Epic's not getting anything.
Right.
If it was a storefront, I'd walk into Target, get my free item, then walk out.
Mm-hmm.
Target's not getting anything else from me.
Was it
But
like
if they,
those free hot dog days and those free comic book days and those
Yeah.
free ice cream days? You
Those-
don't find anything extra. Once you got your free ice cream cone, once you
Like-
got your free Slurpee, you're out. You're
Yeah.
bouncing.
The goal is to bring them in and then give them something more, give them a reason to stay.
Right.
And from what I understand, as someone who does not use the Epic Store but downloads free games from it, is that the Epic
Mhm.
Store is not a really super user-friendly experience.
Yeah.
But
Bitter says you broke my sarcasm meter. Let's see. It says my emotional investment isn't about me. It's about seeing the Quislings squirm a bit. You broke my meter. Just described me. But for every game you buy from Epic, they donate something.
No, I haven't heard that. But I guess this is actually not related. But I just read this. Ace Wraith posted a link about a new tax law in Japan. And I was reading about this, that apparently it changes how freelancers have to define themselves and how freelancers do taxes. and it kind of was made with construction workers in mind, but it also applies to animators and voice actors.
Oh.
And it basically it forces them to basically do a whole bunch more complicated paperwork or hire an accountant, which many of these people can't afford an accountant. So they
Uh-huh.
have to learn how to do all this complicated paperwork that a lot of people are worried about may just push people out of the industry. Yeah, and apparently it went into effect that um, it's an invoice system,
Mhm.
right? It's how individual freelancers and small businesses create invoices to
Right.
determine what is tax deductible.
Right.
And the new system is super complicated, way more complicated
Mm.
than it used to be. And so it's either has a freelancer become an accountant, hire an accountant, or just find a different job.
Right. Right. Or get hired.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um Yeah,
So,
I
yeah.
let's not talk about taxes. I got some bad news last night, so let's not
Mm,
talk about that.
okay. Well, instead of talking about taxes, um, Paul Tassi has an interesting deep dive into what exactly went on with the Bungie layoffs.
Okay.
And what's interesting about all this is that, boy, Destiny is in a real rough place.
Oh.
Basically, that $1.2 billion that Sony paid for employee retention,
Uh-huh.
that's all been spent. I guess that was all spent on like stock buybacks. So it's like the money is spent now.
Stock buybacks from their employees or just from the general public? Because that's not what that was supposed to be about.
I'm looking at this. Where is it?
Because if they bought back the stock that they sold the employees, that would be
Yeah,
essentially
the
paying
1.2
employees.
the 1.2 billion in employee retention from Sony was spent long ago, often on buying out employees' Bungie shares, which
Yeah.
then went to Sony.
Yeah.
There's nothing left in that pot to avoid layoffs, which wasn't what it was meant for in
Right.
this late in the transition
Right.
anyways.
Right.
It seems
Essentially, what
no one
they were trying to prop up their stock price is what they were trying to
yeah.
do by reduce the amount of shares. They didn't actually use it for employee retention. They just use it to they said, "We're helping the employees by paying them for their stock options." But that didn't help the employees actually stay employed.
So what's this is what I think is
Man.
this is what I think is interesting. He says internally, no one is really blaming Sony. Some employees were told that if the Sony buyout did not happen, that with the current Destiny 2 performance, the studio itself would have been in jeopardy if they were still independent.
Oh, wow, I didn't realize Destiny's not doing that poorly.
And yeah, so where's the
Oh,
other part?
wow.
The tread line, yeah,
I'm gonna go turn off on the light in my house because it's
okay.
gotten dark. I love daylight
So yeah,
saving, don't you? Be right
because
back.
this yeah, the whole point of this is that the revenue from Destiny 2 missed the revenue goals by 45%. And he says the trend line of spending on the game over time made the current year's revenue estimate somewhat logical. So while the 45% miss is important, that wasn't based on some wildly inflated projections. However bad it ended up being, it was an instance where management expected the game to do super well and it missed that.
Mhm.
Apparently, they had rational expectations and they still missed it by almost 50%. And so I get, yeah, basically all this is saying that the final shape, the next DLC, may be a make or break moment for Bungie. Uh, and so
This is kinda like the downside of putting all of your eggs in that one Destiny basket. They kind of
yeah, well, and
don't really have anything else going.
it mentions that Disney wanted to be not Disney. Bungie wanted to be a multi IP studio, which is why they were
Mhm.
working on Marathon. And that one of the things, a lot of the past DLC packages for Bungie for Destiny still sell surprisingly well. And
Mhm.
so even after the final shape comes out, there's never really going to be a moment where they stop supporting Destiny because they want to do Destiny and Marathon at the same time. Um,
Oh,
but
okay.
but the people are complaining all the time about the prices of DLC and stuff in Destiny, the prices of cosmetics. But like apparently that's necessary considering how much everything is dropped. So I think this paints a really interesting picture of live service games as a whole. Destiny 2 is like one of the poster child for
Yeah,
live service
it's one of
games.
the most popular live stream or live service games ever.
And apparently it exists on a financial knife's edge. So with this in mind, uh Warner Brothers today, no,
Mhm.
actually with this in mind, in an investor meeting, Sony said half of our 12 planned live service games have now been delayed. So Sony was planning on releasing 12 live service games over the next couple years. One of the reasons they bought Bungie was to help them with live service games because Sony is really good at making first single player
Right,
games, single player
right,
story driven games.
right.
They want to get into live service games, but apparently they have now delayed 6 out of those 12 games because live service games are kind of hard to make. With that in mind, also, Warner Brothers recently came out and said, hey, we're going to make even more live service games. You know that Suicide Squad game that everyone looked at and said, no,
Yeah.
we're going to do more of that.
Oh God! Wow, read the room,
So,
Warner Brothers. Read it.
like
Ah.
looking at the situation Bungie is in with Destiny,
Mhm.
with PlayStation's planned having to delay half of their live service slate.
Right.
And now Warner Brothers going, we're going to invest even more into this. I feel like the live service bubble has officially popped.
Yeah. Yeah.
That everyone is chasing what Destiny was, not realizing that Destiny existed on this razor's edge.
All right.
Everyone thought it was raking in the money, but it
The
wasn't.
Emperor had no clothes.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I don't think everyone was chasing what Destiny was. Yes, they were chasing sort of what Destiny was, but what they were really chasing is what Grand Theft Auto Online is.
Yes,
And the thing is that Grand Theft Auto Online makes that much money.
it
It
does.
does. The it's
But you know what Grand
the
Theft Auto
industry
also
does this.
had?
It keeps doing this. How long were people chasing World of Warcraft?
Oh yeah, all those failed MMOs.
Yeah. Like Blizzard chased EverQuest and won. And then
Mm.
everybody else tried to chase Blizzard and lost their asses. And then it became Battle Royale. Everybody chased Battle Royale, and then that lost.
Everyone chased PUBG.
Right.
Fortnite came
Everybody
out
chased
and did really well.
right.
Then everyone chased Fortnite, but nothing else really stuck. Like Call of Duty Warzone did really well, but apparently like it's done well, but Call of Duty is also Call of Duty.
Right. Kind of like Warcraft is Warcraft and Fortnite is Fortnite.
Mhm.
Um, yeah. And now everybody chased everybody chased Grand Theft Auto Online. I should say, Bungie chased Grand Theft Auto Online and did Destiny 2 and was seemingly successful at it. And then everybody chased that and failed. And now we come to realize, oh yeah, maybe Bungie wasn't all that great after all. Maybe Destiny 2 actually didn't do as well as we were thinking they were doing,
Mhm.
as they were leading everyone to believe they were doing.
But you know what? You know what GTA had
Stop
that all those other
chasing
people.
trends. I know the industry all watches us and they're all waiting for what we say with bated breath, but please, for the love of God, stop chasing trends. Just make games.
But you know what?
Make them good and don't worry about trends. Stop listening to your crypto bros.
GTA had a single player campaign.
Yeah, that's what brought us in.
All those other things It also had, but all those other imitators, they don't really have a single player campaign.
Let me make something perfectly clear. Grand Theft Auto 6 is coming. And guess what is going to make me buy Grand Theft Auto 6? It's not online. There's going to be a robust online, trust me.
Oh
But it's
yeah,
going
absolutely.
to be the campaign. That is the thing that is going to make me buy it, and I will be absolutely there day one playing it. And I'll
Yeah,
probably play the
ditto.
online for a little while, but I'm gonna stop because I'm not crazy about Grand Theft Auto. I don't play Grand Theft Auto 5's online.
No.
I
You
played it
know
for a
what?
good long time, and then I stopped.
The best thing about online was that motorcycles versus jets multiplayer game.
I like watching other people play it online because it just has gotten so epically silly at this point.
Mm.
But yeah, it's don't yeah, I mean, that's the thing is breaking it down, breaking ground Grand Theft Auto, even if you were trying to break it down on what it has and doesn't has and why it's successful, even if you made another game that used exactly the same pattern, it's probably not gonna be the same game because it's not Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah. Peop
It's like saying, "Oh, all I have to do is make a Call of Duty clone." No,
EA's
doesn't
been
work
trying
that
that for
way.
years and it hasn't quite worked out.
Exactly, doesn't work that way. You make a really good game, and then you play with it. You don't just find somebody else's good game and try to copy it.
Yeah.
It doesn't
Well,
work.
you know what?
Stop chasing trends.
Chasing trends works if it's a brand new trend and you're the second person to hit, right? EverQuest, then Warcraft.
Mhm.
PUBG, then Fortnite. You know, it's the second person who gets there. The first person starts the trend and makes the good idea. The second person,
Makes
like,
the idea better.
they refine it.
Mhm.
But at that point, you're out.
Right,
At that
there's no
point,
more
just
refinements to be
stop
made.
trying. Stop
Right.
trying. You know, you had Dota, you had League of Legends, but
And that's it.
no other games.
No other game. So, yeah,
But also,
and
so
Bitter says Destiny chased Warframe.
yeah.
True, sort of. Yes.
So all this talk of GTA, also good segue. Take-Two has said there is going to be a trailer for GTA 6 in December. So everybody can stop theorizing. You can stop putting out YouTube videos about when are they going to announce GTA 6. It's going to be December.
Right. Right. It's
Other
gonna
than
be
that,
December.
what's funny is we don't know what's in the trailer. We don't know anything. Just the announcement of a trailer is like, this is news.
Mhm.
Other
And I'm gonna be
games,
there. I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna if I'm at work, I am going to be going into a back office, closing the door, putting up a do not disturb sign because nobody gets to talk to me when that thing drops.
I've seen people say it would be wonderful if this whole event started with the reveal because Rockstar said the next GTA game will be announced, not GTA 6. And so if they started this by
Oh.
showing here's GTA 5 remastered.
If they did GTA 5 or GTA babies.
Mm.
It's the next
It-
big game. You know, if Devolver was doing their reveal, I guarantee you that's what
oh
they
yeah,
would make.
here's GTA 1 on PS5.
Did you ever play the original GTA?
Yeah,
It was awful.
it's hard to do anything with that top-down view. It's
It's
hard to know where you're going.
so bad. It's so
Yeah.
yeah. So I'm anybody want to take any bets on what's going to be there?
I mean, we kind of know a lot about GTA 6 from leaks. Like we know it'll have dual protagonists, a guy and a woman, and
I
kind
was
of
going
be
to say.
Bonnie and Clyde inspired.
Mhm. Yeah, I think that's I didn't know that. So yeah, I was
Mm.
going to say my first thing is I think that there's going to be a female protagonist in
Yeah, they've gotten
some way.
enough heat about it at by now
Good.
that there'd be
Good.
something like that.
Do you have any idea? Because it usually has to do with a specific kind of usually ethnic based criminal mafia.
Yeah, because 4 was like kind of aping the Italian.
Italian mafia.
I guess he wasn't Italian. He was like Russian, but it was the same thing.
No, four was Russian. Yeah, he was
4 was
Russian.
Russian mafia. 3 was CJ.
Italian.
Like no, CJ was like the black crime in LA.
Right.
CJ
San Andreas. San Andreas
yes.
was LA, was Crips and Bloods.
Yeah,
and
Vice City was Scarface.
Scarface.
Yeah, and 5 was kind of all over the place, but it was mainly like white collar, and
white
like
collar / trash / LA.
Yeah, like the white trash poor,
scene.
and then white collar, the businessman who looks like he's rich but is really in debt up to his ears, fake rich.
Mm-hmm.
Like kind of focused on that type of economy.
Mm-hmm. I'm wondering what the next one will be.
Yeah.
Japan?
No, it's going to be set in the US. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, like the Yakuza.
Oh.
Chinese mafia.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
Mm-hmm. Not, I mean, I know Yakuza is Japanese, but like maybe Chinese mafia?
Yeah.
It's really the one kind of big criminal underworld they have not touched.
I think it's going to be interesting to see how GTA's like satire of America plays in a version of America that's already basically a joke of itself.
Yeah. Yep. I anticipate a corrupt politician, corrupt, super conservative, hypocritical politician to be at least part of that.
Sure. Yeah.
All right. So my next item, and actually, I'll make it a double and get rid of all of my stuff at once, so we can get you out of here since it's 4:30.
Okay.
Netflix. Remember talking about free games available at places? And this is like the one place you can really get free mobile games that's not that you can get mobile games without having to go through, like a lot of mobile games without having to go through the App Store or the Google Play Store. Netflix has announced that it is bringing several really good free mobile games to its service in 2024. They didn't announce everything, but they did announce a couple of them. One is the most exciting of all of the ones that they mentioned. Hades is coming.
That's big.
Supergiant's roguelite. Hades is coming. And that's, I think, a really fitting title to come to Netflix games. I mean, the fact that it's got the action, the romance, the comedy, it's all that kind of stuff that's very much like a Netflix movie or Netflix show, and it's all there in Hades. So the other one it's the big one that's coming to Netflix in 2024 is Death's Door.
Oh yeah.
So it's an action game that's not really a Souls-like, but
it's kind of like it was a Souls Zelda. Like it was a weird combination.
Would that make it a Souls-like?
Yes.
So it's a Souls-like. And that is also coming to Netflix. And so if you are a Netflix subscriber, you can download those games and a bunch more, which is one of the things that I did before I went to Bali, was download a bunch of Netflix games, which incidentally, if you're going out of the country and you're not going to have really good internet connection, it's a bad idea, because
that's right, because it needs to validate it.
Yeah, it needs to phone home to Netflix. So you're not actually downloading the game. So if you're just using the Netflix portal, or I should say, it needs to phone home to Netflix to make sure that you haven't, stolen it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that doesn't work as well as just downloading a game off of like the App Store. But that's coming. And the other news, which if you like free games, also kind of cool. And I think that a lot of you out there, a lot of our audience would certainly be very interested in this. Crunchyroll is announced that it is going to launch a game vault. So they're following Netflix's footsteps. They're going to be offering games alongside of the anime. And it's only available to certain subscription tiers. So it
Makes
was
sense.
announced on their own website that the Crunchyroll Game Vault, that's the actual name of it, it's going to be it's theoretically open now, but it is a library of games that are available to the mega fan tier, which costs $9.99 a month, and through the US only subscription of the Ultimate Fan, which is $15 a month.
Hmm.
Now, according to Crunchyroll, they said there's going to be a quote, constantly growing library of mobile games. It's already available on Android. iOS devices are going to get it very soon in more than 200 countries, all playable with no ads and no in app purchases. So, most of the games that they've announced definitely tie in with the genre of Crunchyroll
Which is to be
being
expected.
anime. Huh?
Yeah, which is to be expected.
Yeah. So far, they've announced River City Girls, Wolf Stride, Invento, Captain Velvet, The Jump Plus Dimensions, and Behind the Frame. So that's a nice little group of indie games. They're not all Japanese developed, but they're all clearly inspired by Japanese media, Japanese-esque games.
Yeah.
Now, if you are opening up your Android right now and or your iOS and you don't see it and you are a subscription tier member, keep in mind, or you download it and you can't access it, keep in mind, Crunchyroll said, and I quote, some of our features will be released incrementally to ensure stability.
Mm,
Not all users may receive all Crunchyroll Game Vault updates and access to Crunchyroll Game Vault titles simultaneously. So
okay.
they said if
Okay.
you are subscribing in one of those tiers, you will have access. If you don't see everything or it looks a little odd, don't worry, just give it a bit of time. They're slowly rolling it out so that they don't crash the system because new service. It's going to have bugs and they want to make sure that they don't destroy it for everybody.
Yeah.
So, slowly rolling it out to make sure that it works.
My knee-jerk reaction when I saw this was worry because
Mhm.
part of me was afraid that games would be following movies and that, hey, look, everyone wants to get their own subscription service going, and
Right.
look how that worked out for Hollywood.
Right.
But I think Crunchyroll might be okay in that it feeds like a very niche market. And as
Mhm.
long as they are okay with that niche market, they could be like the Shudder of streaming services.
Right.
Shudder focuses on horror, Hi-Ya focuses on action movies, and from what I understand, they're chugging along just fine. They're okay being a small fish.
Right.
And like as long as Crunchyroll keeps that in mind,
Do one thing, do it very well, and
exactly.
move on.
Crunchyroll doesn't have to be Netflix. Don't try to be Netflix.
No, but I think that it is a neat added value, especially because Netflix has a whole lot of fairly big titles that obviously they've had to pay for because they have Netflix money to throw around in order for them to be on their service,
Mhm.
their game service. I think that this is a great value added not only to the users, obviously, because it gives them a little, extra little free perks for having Crunchyroll. It makes that $15 a month or $10 a month that much better, a better buy for you, and also makes a case for Crunchyroll raising its prices in the future. but it's also really good for the developers because these are not titles you necessarily might have picked up or even
Yes.
heard of. And these are the kinds of titles, if they're curated properly to fit the genre that well, that's what it comes down to. It comes down to curation. If you know that you can get, if I love anime and I love Crunchyroll, and I know if Crunchyroll is giving me a game, it's going to be a game I like that
Mhm.
fits that need, that feeds that need, that fits me perfectly. That's a really good value, but it comes down to curation. And I
Yeah.
think Shudder could do the same thing. Shudder could absolutely do a game vault
Yeah.
that would
And you know what?
independent mobile horror games.
And the crazy thing is that horror is like notoriously cheap. You can make a very inexpensive game that takes off. It's cheap in
Right.
movies and games.
Right.
In both, uh horror is like a very budget friendly genre.
The only thing cheaper to make that makes as more money is porn.
Shit, that's probably true.
Think of any other genre of media that's easier and cheaper to make that sells that
Mm.
makes that much money. Only porn. Porn and
Okay.
horror.
Okay, so raises the question, when is Playboy going to start adding games to their subscription service?
I don't know Playboy would. I mean, I hate to say it, but Playboy's kind of a little too classy for that.
Okay.
But I would say Hustlers, if Hustler had a gaming service or it was adult, that's where your side-loaded apps could come in.
Hmm.
Because, of course, you can't, I don't believe you can buy adult-themed games on Google Play.
No. And you know
But
what?
if you could side-load apps, Hustler could absolutely open up a game store.
You know what? That reminds me of a news. I didn't have it. Steam just announced a new feature where you could hide games on your list so that it wouldn't appear when your friends look at your game list. So
This does
all
not
those.
surprise me. It's the equivalent of the brown paper bag.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's fine. I really have nothing against adult games. Really, really
No.
don't.
It just
And I
reminded
think
me of
it's
that. I thought it was
absolutely they
funny.
should be kept private.
Speaking of private things, no, that doesn't work. But EA teased a whole bunch of Mass Effect stuff for N7 Day, and I think the biggest news out of this is the rumor that Jeff Grubb said that the next Mass Effect is probably going to be out around 2029. That it's like 5 years away. So all these teases for the next Mass Effect, that's I hope you're okay getting that for the next 5 years because
Man,
that
I really, really hate BioWare for doing this for me. I really hate BioWare for doing this to
I
me.
feel like at this point that they don't
They
say
do two things.
don't
They
say
do
anything.
2 games, and they can't get either one of them out the fucking door in a decade or more.
Like just focus on Dragon Age. Don't tease Mass Effect if it's gonna be that far
Right.
away.
Just focus on Dragon Age. Just do Dragon Age.
Yeah.
Don't just do Dragon. And to be honest, get rid of Dreadwolf. I fucking hated Dreadwolf. I hated that. I fucking hated the whole Dreadwolf thing. And I know that they're doing it. I know they're going deep in that guy. I hate
Yeah,
that
they're
guy. I
doubling.
don't like that guy. He did nothing for me.
They're tripling down on it. That's
It is
what
my
the whole
romance
next
porn.
game is about.
Talk about porn. That's my romance porn. Just bring the romance porn.
Just give fantasy romance. Just make a dating sim with Alistair.
Oh, God.
Just make a dating. You know what? BioWare, make a Dragon Age dating sim.
Take my money. Take my money.
And
Yeah, Alistair or Caden. I mean, Caden, but Alistair. Yeah.
God, you know what?
BioWare gave me Alistair and my best friend ever, Garrus.
Imagine if BioWare just did like Mass Effect dating sim, Dragon Age dating sim. Like just how easy it would be to make and how much they could
It's
fit
porn.
into
It's
that.
romance porn.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
And
I'd
then
do it. I'd buy
and
it.
then and then as DLC, they could sell the adult version, the adult add-on. Hmm. The base game just has all the
And then
romance,
right,
but then the DLC
and then
has
just
the
sell,
sexy.
like, DLC with, like, new scenarios and new,
Yeah,
new dialogue options. Absolutely, just keep us coming back. Fuck yes. That would make
new
so much
locations.
money.
Like, hey, do you want to? The
I
next
would just hand
DLC
them my
is like
credit
a
card.
date in a coffee shop. Then
Yeah.
the next, yeah, there's the coffee shop DLC. There's the romantic dinner DLC. There's the nightlife club DLC.
Uh-huh. And then the, like, $150 final download,
Oh
the
yeah,
coup de grace,
absolutely.
the everything
The
is
Game of the Year edition.
the Game of the Year edition with everything and, like, $200 is the
Mhm.
marriage DLC, the
Ooh,
wedding DLC.
that's the final DLC.
No, that's not the final DLC.
Oh,
Then there is the family edition,
ooh, that's the sequel.
right? Where you just keep going with the whole relationship. You just have an entire relationship with Alistair.
I
And
mean, you know what?
somehow, some way your love survives.
You know
Or
what?
not.
BioWare, that like Mass Effect, one of the big selling points was it's going to be a trilogy of games that take your save data into the next game. Just do that, but with the dating sim. Like
Yeah, take out the
it's
shooting.
the idea works. BioWare, what the fuck? Call us.
Less pew pew, more smooch mooch. You
Anyways,
you you say this like it's a bad idea. You're
no,
trying to
I'm
make
not.
me laugh, and the thing is, I would
The thing
absolutely
is, like,
buy all of that.
it's a funny idea, but also like it would work.
It would work.
It
It
would
would
work.
sell. Oh, it would
Although
sell. How much did
the
I spend on the Alistair romance box
the
as
one
the merch?
the one
$75.
catch, the one thing that could go wrong
Mhm.
is that I don't think the writers that made us fall in love with all those characters are still at BioWare.
No.
But
Oh,
oh,
and
here,
it was Alistair's writing. Oh, the dialogue on his writing was so chef's kiss, so good. All those poor visual novels Edie is ignoring are feeling NTR'd by hypothetical BioWare games true.
I mean, look, that's the power of brand,
Mhm.
right? All those games people would ignore, but you slap Mass Effect on there, slap Dragon Age on there.
It all came down to that one perfect match between the perfect dialogue writer and the perfect voice actor.
Mm,
And to be honest, even the perfect like character design.
yeah, like
It was like this
all
just
it worked really well.
it just synergized into like ah yes. Sorry.
So yeah, BioWare needs to get all those old writers back on a
Yeah.
contract to make a
Mhm,
dating sim. And speaking of freelancers,
Calling David Gutter. Hi, Dave. Could you do me a favor?
yeah,
I got some good news and some bad news. The good news is we want you for another game and we're willing to give you a lot of money for it. The bad news is
hey,
it's
you know
all
what?
a dating sim.
You know what? That's a writer's dream, right? Because
Kind of
it's
sort of is.
just writing.
Right. We're going to turn you into a romance novelist.
Hmm. Look, you can add some conflict in there as well.
Yeah, I mean that's how every good romance story has
Yeah,
conflict. There's some danger to it.
exactly. Um,
Anyway.
but so if there's one other thing that's happened this year, a lot of layoffs, a lot of games media layoffs too. The
Mhm.
Escapist blew up the other day. Waypoint got shut down.
Oh my god, did The Escapist blow up? I totally forgot about that. We have to
Yeah,
talk about that next week. Holy crap, if you guys haven't read about what happened to The Escapist and with Yahtzee and that Escapist combusted.
yeah.
Its management destroyed in one fell swoop, destroyed the company.
Their whole
Destroyed everything.
their whole video department is gone.
It's gone.
And they were like, that was a heavy part of, like, video content was big at The Escapist.
Because they fired their editor in chief, the video content, Yahtzee left, and everybody else followed.
Yeah. Yeah. We would talk about it now, Piss, but I gotta go soon. But
Yeah.
what I'll say, good things that come out of this,
Mhm.
all those people that left The Escapist are now starting up their own group called Second Wind. I
Mhm.
don't know if the website is active yet, but all the people, they are going to a new venture that they are creating themselves called Second Wind. A bunch of ex-Kotaku staff are creating a website that's user-driven, user-funded, so you can subscribe to get more stuff, called Aftermath. And then the people at Waypoint created Remap, which I've talked about here before because I love them and I subscribe to them.
Mhm.
So
Remember, this is how Giant Bomb started.
exactly,
This
exactly.
is it's upset. Some of these companies just forget that it's the talent that makes the company, not the company that makes the talent.
Yeah.
They
And
can
so it's
take their
really
talents
nice,
elsewhere.
really great to see the talent creating something on their own. And yeah, I'm happy to support them as much as I
Here's
can.
the interesting thing about Yahtzee leaving for the Second Wind, and I'm very curious to see how this plays out. Yahtzee doesn't own Zero Punctuation.
Yeah.
That whole look, all of it, is all part of the IP that is owned by the Escapists. So Yahtzee, and how much of what Yahtzee is all about his visuals, his stick figures.
Yeah.
He's going to have to do something else, something different, and it can't just be a color change. And I'm curious to know how they're going to make that happen so that it is just, I mean, of course, Yahtzee's Yahtzee. It's always going to be
Yeah.
funny, his voice, but it's all the other stuff that kind of makes it a perfect
But I do think,
package.
like, the thing is, you can recreate all those aesthetics into something different.
Yeah,
Like, you don't,
maybe.
you
It's
can.
gonna take some getting used to because we're so used
Yes.
to it.
We're so used to it, but like the content, the tone, his personality will still be the
Right,
same.
right.
It's the same
And the
way.
video editors editing it, doing it making just funny visuals.
Yeah.
Essentially, it's got all the right stuff. It just needs the look, and that's the one thing that they don't own.
I'll say Movie Bob, who was like the movie reviewer Escapist a long time ago. He
Right.
went and created his own YouTube channel that I've been subscribed to for years, and he managed to do that. He kept his same tone, his same personality, but kind of created his own new video series. And it's a great channel. He's a great critic.
Mhm. Yeah, it's gonna take a little getting used to. I'm really curious to see how Yahtzee translates because he's been with them for,
It's like a decade.
I was gonna say, like a decade or
It's
more.
it's a long time.
A long, long time. And honestly, if it weren't for Yahtzee, no one would know about The Escapist.
Yeah, he made The Escapist.
He made The Escapist, and Escapist forgot that. Well,
Mhm.
Escapist didn't realize that the editor-in-chief, a really good editor-in-chief,
Yeah,
is
everyone
not
liked
something that you
him.
can just fire and just get a new one. That if you've got a machine that works, if you've got a team that works, you don't get rid of the person that makes it work.
Yeah.
Editors-in-chief are not good ones are not just grown on trees. They're really hard to find. I learned that the hard way, thinking that when I went from my first newspaper that had the most amazing editor-in-chief, had the most amazing managing editor, and I thought that's how all newsrooms were until I went to another newsroom and it was like, "Holy crap, this is not fun. I am not having fun." I used to go to work every day, like, chuckling, like, laughing my ass off. That's not how it works everywhere else. I didn't get it until I left.
Yeah.
And I couldn't go back. So it's a thing. When you got a newsroom that works, they don't. It's a rare and beautiful thing. It's a snowflake. It's a unicorn. You don't murder the unicorn.
So yeah, on that good note, like
Of murdering
of
unicorns.
of murdering unicorns and building something beautiful from their
Building something
body.
beautiful. Yeah.
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 Look, taxidermied unicorns. Mwah. That's the note. When I leave today, I want to leave you with the image of taxidermied unicorns.
Mm-hmm.
And on that note, I have to go now. I'm not going to end. I'm just going to leave the studio.
No. You have no. Don't leave the studio. I'm gonna load up right now. So thank you so much for watching.
Okay.
Let's close this out.
Okay.
You've been listening to GameHounds, episode 696. We recorded this on Sunday. What day is it? The 12th of November, 2023. I've been eating Sellers. With me has been Nick Nicola. Ways to get a hold of us. GameHounds.net is our website. GameHounds@gmail.com is our email. We record this show live every Sunday at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern on Twitch and on YouTube. On YouTube, we are GameHounds Vids, VIDS. On Twitch, we are the GameHounds. Please feel free to join us live. If you are watching this after the fact, please come and have this. Thank you to everybody in the chat room. I'm sorry we didn't actually talk to the chat much today. There's so much going on. But we will be back next week where you can talk to us and where we do respond much more effectively is on our Discord. Yes, we have a Discord server. Feel free to join us on our Discord. You can find the link in our description, or you can always go this link right here on our right below. Go to that, join our Discord. That's where you can connect with Nick and me all the time, usually 24/7. Sometimes we're asleep. The other way you can get a hold of us is through our Patreon. We are 100% patron funded. If you haven't signed up for our Patreon, please do so. If you haven't liked and subscribed this video and our channel, do so now, please. That's free. That doesn't cost you a bit. But if you want to help pay for essentially the subscriptions and the software and all of this that actually makes us happen, $1 a month is all we ask. It helps keep our virtual lights on. You can go to our Patreon. It is patreon.com/GameHounds. But in lieu of that, you can always like and subscribe. And if you are a Twitch subscriber and you also have Amazon Prime, if you haven't already subscribed to use your one free subscription through Amazon Prime, consider using it for us. It's free for you. It does come to us. It does help us. We would certainly appreciate it. Thank you so much. And like I said, if you haven't liked and subscribed, please do so right below. Have a great week, everyone. We will talk to you then. Bye. All right, we're out. Nick, have a great time tonight. Everybody else, thank you so much for watching. I'm going to be on. I'm probably not going to stream tonight because Baldur's Gate is kind of boring to watch because you end up starting over. It's kind of really boring that way. But have a great week, everyone. We will see you then. I will tell you if I meet Justin Trudeau. I'll tell you all about it.
Get a selfie.
Justin's in town. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.